if you have never seen this screen before, never touched this game before in your life, don't know anything about it other than it's a MOBA and it had 190,000 something players back in August when the media embargo finally lifted, well, let me introduce you to Deadlock. Psych! Just kidding. This isn't a fucking welcome to Deadlock video, motherfucker. This is my 2,000 hour fucking review of this goddamn game, okay? That's right, 2,000 hours. I streamed this shit every day since August, okay? I've played Prime Lock. I've played so much of this damn game. I've modified it, I've created mods, I've done so much with Deadlock in such a short amount of time that it makes my 7 years of Overwatch experience pale in comparison. Okay? This isn't welcome to Deadlock. This is welcome to my version of Deadlock. If you haven't seen my streams or my videos, you probably wouldn't know because, not a whole lot of people watch my content in the first place. But with as many mods as I've installed over time, I've had about 3 different eras when it comes to my actual Deadlock. 4 technically if you count the vanilla game when I first started. But let's just hop in to DL Midtown and just chill out for a second. We're going to run a custom bots preset. Actually, no, we're not. I mean, we're still going to run the custom bots preset, but it's not going to work as well as it would if I had, because I turned off my mods. So we're going to just exec gigabots. That's my custom bots preset. And we're just going to let them go do their thing. They're going to go have fun without me. And we're going to hang out in spawn while I talk about this game that I've played and loved for so long. And now don't touch. And I'm afraid to open it sometimes because really, at the core of it all, when you really put the pieces together and you kind of explore like the thought process that Valve could have taken when designing this game and how it feels like a true successor to the way that Valve makes multiplayer games. It feels like a Team Fortress 2 sequel without being in the Team Fortress 2 world or with the art style or anything like that. It's like Team Fortress 3, but it has nothing to do with Team Fortress. It just takes all of the greatest elements of that game and it combines them all into one. It learns from other games like Overwatch, for example, and it makes, like, I just noticed these stars right here. I won't lie. This is the first time I've ever seen these stars. Also, we're not going to talk about that actually. And it has all the classic Valve game sauce formula to it. It's so good. It's so perfect. And then there's like that extra bit of like they put they didn't put the shit in it. All right, the shit comes from it being a video game that you play with other people with and not just like a PvE thing. And so for every 10 feet of good, there's like maybe half a foot of some shit ass bullshit in this game that does need to be addressed. And as somebody, like I said, who played Overwatch for 7 years competitively, I feel obligated to express those problems that I have, okay? If you watched my last Deadlock stream, that was a single match. I don't know if I deleted the VOD or not. You can kind of get the feel for what it is, right? And it's memed about a lot. It's the unemployment final boss, right? It's like even as somebody who streams this game every day, I am not at the top. All my leaderboard positions are wiped off the face of the earth. I was on 5 leaderboard positions across different characters. Not really anymore because I'm not playing the game, right? The next update with all the heroes has been deconfirmed for later down the line. Probably in the next few weeks or so. There's going to be Shiv and 7 nerfs in the meantime. Don't know when that's going to happen. Um, and so, like I said, it's the unemployment final boss. This game is really unfriendly for employed people. So let's check out the Deadlock Steam DB. there are 5,700 players right now, okay? And that's about where it's been. It's cycling through the same less than 20,000 players weekly, basically. And, you know, obviously a big update's going to change the makeup of that. Things are going to get better. But right now, even as somebody with as much skill, as much time played in this game, I still get fucking steamrolled by, you know, like I said on my latest stream. I forget sometimes that playing multiplayer games forces you to interface with the terminally unemployed. People who literally don't do anything but grind a specific game. Damn, what a parry. And so, my latest stream, I log in and I have to sit there and I have to watch slowly as this Wraith player on the enemy team who, like, if you buy a counter item, will talk shit. If you kill her, she'll talk shit. If you play well, she'll talk shit. If you do anything on the map, she'll talk shit, right? If you're doing literally anything other than hard carrying for your team, and even then, she'll still talk shit. It's not that they're good at the game, it's that they like to think that they're good at the game in, you know, Arcanist and Emissary lobbies, right? And so instead of actually playing the game well, they just play the game to abuse what they're good at and what the enemy can't do about them, you know, and use that to their advantage. You know, months and months ago, at the start of this year, there was like a guide video that somebody made that was like, you should ego in your lobbies, like below, from below Archon up to Oracle. You should just ego in your lobbies, you know, because you don't really have to respect your enemies up until you hit like Phantom and above, you know. And you know, at the time, I even expressed like that's a horrible thing to say about the game. That's like you're going to ruin people's lobbies, because fundamentally at the core of it, what is egoing, if not just trying to play at the top of your level? But what it doesn't do is it doesn't like explain like how some of the mistakes that people are making are because they think that they're good at the game, or they think that they're accomplishing something by pressing more buttons, moving around more constantly, just being annoying, right?
Our yellow walker is under attack.
And I think that's a really big focus on the gameplay right now. That's kind of the reason why I don't play, is because I log in, I want to chill, I want to have fun, but I have to play against this terminally unemployed loser who, it's not even like egoing at that point. It's just like they're doing the literal, absolute most possible. You know, my favorite term to refer to is snorting Adderall, right? Because I don't take ADHD medication. God knows I should, right? But I don't take ADHD medication. So typically speaking, I'm not at the top of my game, right? I'm not like doing the absolute most that I could be doing, right? I don't play all day, every day. You know, I'm not constantly tapped in, right? So even though I know how to play optimally, even though I've put in a lot of work into refining out the mistakes that I'm making, you know, learning how to actually play a lot of different characters, what items are good, what items are bad, you know, I'm still going to make mistakes. I'm not going to have perfect movement. I'm not going to have perfect aim. I don't do warm-ups, right? Compared to somebody who does snort crushed Adderall, somebody who does do warm-up training, somebody who is playing and scrimming all day, every day, right? Somebody who gets perfect sleep, somebody who goes out of their way to play optimally all the time. Of course, somebody like me, I'm not gonna come close to competing, right? But of course, it's a a game that's in pre-alpha, right? It's a game that's in development. And yes, of course, I want to actually compete, but to the degree of changing my entire lifestyle around playing optimally just so I have a chance against Elo gremlins seems a little out there, you know. I wouldn't mind wider matchmaking personally, you know, keep the extra competitive option, make the extra competitive option a really tight matchmaking pool. Of course, they can't do this right now because the player base is literally 5,000 players. If they did this, the game would never find a match. But you know, have a wide pool. You know, in Halo 5 Guardians, the one thing that game did right, aside from having a really fun multiplayer that got shit on by people who couldn't handle it because it wasn't Halo, is it had wide matchmaking pool, and then it had and then it had a strict matchmaking pool, right? And it was just an option in the client that you could choose from. And it feels like Deadlock should have that. Of course, like I said, probably doesn't work. We'd never find a match if it actually worked that way right now. But let me choose, like, hey, I don't mind if I'm playing with people 2 ranks below me. I don't really give a shit what the rank is. Just let me get into a match fast, play with whoever, right? And if, you know, there's one person on each team that are really high rank and then the rest of the people are like lower ranks, who gives a fuck, right? That's what the mode is for. I don't really care. I just want to jump in, have fun, play the game, right? And if we have to team up and stop this one giga unemployed loser whose only joy in life is being a psychotic freak in match chat, you know, we can mute him and then just move on with our lives, right? Compared to a strict matchmaking pool for competitive people who actually feel like they want to compete and not just be weirdos from the beginning to the end of the game, right? Like that's what I feel like extra competitive should be. And sorry, this whole I don't know how long this is going to be. I want it to be less than 20 minutes, but no chance there. Like I said, I should take ADHD medication, but God knows I'm not. Wow, that's crazy. You know, I find bots to be a really relaxing experience compared to playing against actual people because of that chance that you're going to run into an enemy who just does the absolute most, right? Like that Wraith player, or like at the end of that match. No offense to that Ivy, actually, like the Ivy played really well at the end, stopping me as Lash. But she turned around and then she just invested every cooldown she had into preventing me on Lash from getting any value at the very end of the match. Of course, my Lash ult wasn't probably going to do a whole lot given the very wide gap in skill disparity between my team and the enemy team. But it's that kind of thing. It's like, you know, sometimes even if I do go out of my way to do the absolute most, it will never. You can't carry a bad team into a victory by yourself.
They will return,
you know,
and we must be ready.
Especially against a player who is going to see
Now is
opportunities to punish and take them, compared to a teammate who's going to see a bad opportunity, take it, and then inadvertently feed. You know, and of course, there's a lot of subtle nuances, especially in this game, where, you know, you can make one mistake and suddenly you have this individual on the enemy team, or it doesn't even have to be a mistake. It can be like you bought return fire and now the enemy Wraith is just hunting you down wherever you go on the map, right? Because they just have a grudge against that item. What is up with that, by the way? Like, Wraith players especially they see you buy return fire and they feel personally like challenged by it. They feel like vindicated by the fact that you bought return fire. Like, oh, pushes up glasses like an anime character. You bought return fire? Well, you fucking fool. You dumb fucking idiot. I'm going to now hard focus you for the rest of the match and make sure that even if you use return fire, even if you have, 64% bullet resist, that the rest of your match is like total fucking misery. It's like, it's not that serious, bruh. It's not that deep. You don't gotta do all that. Nobody's asking you to do that, right?
It's time to buy the best.
And obviously I'm not talking about game balance really. Shiv is annoying. Seven is annoying. Warden is fucking annoying. Abrams charge, fucking annoying. Stuff like that. And of course there are ways. Wow, this Warden, for a bot, this Warden actually is a crazy fucking gun build. There are ways to solve these problems with game balance, and then there's ways to solve them with actual playing the game. But sometimes it really does feel like you get into these like unwinnable scenarios against unemployment final boss. And the only way to defeat them is by handing them a job application. And obviously you shouldn't respond to trolls and people who take their mental illness out on the video game and the people in the video game, right? And of course, there's that ratio of games that are winnable to unwinnable to you can actually make a difference. And as the player base is so small, there's so much, like, you have to do so much more if you want to win those unwinnable games, because chances of you fighting somebody who doesn't know how to win a game are really low. But there's like a degree of like, you shouldn't be allowed to like 5-stack in this game. Like, it's fun, yes, but like, if you can 5-stack with your team of, phantom players, and maybe like a couple of them are like emissary or, Archon or whatever, doesn't really matter, then you're gonna just, like, you're gonna have the most fun, sure, but the enemy team playing are going to have zero fun, and they're gonna have to deal with people who are literally just roaming around the map as a collective group, slaying whoever they find, right? Sorry, the fungal spores are getting to me. Oh. And, in my opinion, the game should be fun-focused, fun-first, Wow, I got parried the fuck out of by a bot. I got absolutely shit on. I won't lie. But sometimes it really does feel like you get into these like from literally the moment you get off the zipline, you can tell you're losing, right? Just because like with that Wraith earlier, they're doing the absolute most. They got off the zipline, they're AD strafing, they're moving when they're not even getting shot, like they're just wasting stamina to waste stamina. They're APM spamming, not because any of it makes them good at the game, but because, like, who's gonna punish them for wasting all their stamina on nothing? Who's gonna punish them for, making it easier for you to hit them by constantly AD strafing back into your shots, right? Who's gonna punish them for expending their abilities when they should be conserving their abilities, right? Like Mirage Tornadoes, because if they're on a coordinated team and you're not, like your team isn't in chat, your team isn't communicating, right? Your team doesn't synergize with each other, and say you happen to be a streamer or just like a clip farmer, and you post clips to like twitter.com and you get arguably unfair amounts of attention for them, right? And so your name is recognized, and so you get into a match against people who are going to recognize your name. And so, you know, the enemy Mirage uses his tornado ability, for example. Who's gonna punish him for using that? It's gonna have to be you, the sole person paying attention to such an important cooldown, right? And so if you don't have slowing hex, you can't stop him from using all of his stamina to escape right then and there, and he just walks away for free because there's nothing. What are you gonna do? Like literally, what are you gonna do, right? Let's see. Mystic Shot here. This is a fuck ass build right here. I fuck with this. Let's go in there and kill some motherfuckers. He's cooked. Nice. I've had a lot of matches where people will, especially on Calico, people will just look at what I'm building and they'll just call it a shit build. They'll just say, like, what are you building? And they just don't care about experimentation. They don't care about having fun. They don't care, like, oh, you play a supportive playstyle. You don't just walk in, left click, press all your buttons, and then kill a guy. You actually, like, use your brain to, like, utilize your cooldowns in some way to disrupt or inhibit the enemy from being as successful as possible. Oh, that's a shit build, you know, what are you doing? You're throwing my game. Or they pay attention to the KD, and like that's the only thing in their mind that matters is your KD ratio. Or like I don't play Paradox anymore, because if you play a carry playstyle Paradox, you just get flamed for not hitting swaps, or if you do hit swaps, like they just don't get followed up on. You know, there's a million factors to this game, and teammates especially can be a hindrance. A lot of like, for the same reasons that they can be helpful, they can also be a hindrance. And you know, for the same reasons that your teammates can be a hindrance, your enemies especially can be a hindrance. And people in Valve games love to just fucking chat it up. They love to just inflict their mental illnesses straight into your cerebral cortex. And like I said, who's gonna be the one to actually do anything about it, right? And instead of there being like systems in the game, like there's a mute, right? You can just mute them. But muting people isn't gonna like make the game that much easier to win, right? It's just gonna like stop the mental illness from directly reaching your screen through text chat, right? But then you're gonna still have to interface like with the actual players in the match and the way that they play. And a lot of the time, like I mentioned with Return Fire, it feels like you buy like a counter item, or you just don't build to ego. You don't build like pure power spikes, and it's like you get punished, right? You just get punished for logging in and playing. And I don't know, in my opinion, I think that that's not nearly as fun as it could be, right? I've had people say like, oh, disarming hex is useless. You'll never see a person above Archon building it, right? And it's like, why is that? Why? First of all, why do people think that? Because it's not true in the first place. It has a, you know, even like, just like look at the item. It has a 13%, 13% bullet resist reduction, right? Sure, it's 4 seconds, but if you can't kill a person who's disarmed in 4 seconds, you might be cooked anyways, right? It's like people will not build items, not because the items are particularly bad, but because the items don't, quote unquote, build into what they're doing. And usually what they're doing is just aping it down a lane, holding M1 on somebody, spamming all their buttons, and winning. And anything that gets in their way is trash, not worth buying, right? And that's another thing, is in NA, there is like zero sportsmanship. It's just dick measuring contests, right? A lot of like really bad toxic behaviors in this game just because people are anonymized, you know, they're on fucking 10 Smurf accounts. They just don't give a shit, you know. For all the good, like I said, all the good in the game, there's always going to be that little smidgen of shit at the end, right? That comes with playing a multiplayer online video game, you know. And of course, like, I don't want to like harp on people for being good at the game, but at the same time, it's like I feel like there should be more to building all these items, and you might as well sometimes never even open this tab, right? Unless you're buying Bullet Lifesteal, Legion, Vampiric Burst, or Siphon Bullets, or Infuser, you know? And it in my opinion, not as fun, right? You can build Phantom Strike and then disarm somebody and then watch as they walk away or end up just killing you anyways because, you know, it's only a few seconds, right? It's a 3-second debuff. You can disarm somebody for 7 straight seconds. You can disarm a gun character for 7 straight seconds. And if your team doesn't follow up on those 2 disarms, they just walk away. They either just walk away or they kill you. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? And of course that involves that also, you know, when I say your team doesn't follow up on it, that includes yourself, right? But like, think about that. You buy 2 disarms, you disarm the enemy gun hero. Chances are probably another gun hero because there's like no draft, so they get fucking 3 gun heroes, and one of them isn't even like an actual gun hero. They just have a good gun because they bought all gun items, right? You disarm somebody for 7 straight seconds, then you get gunned down by the other 2, and then the disarms wear off, and then the third one's gunning you down, you know. Or you're just getting chased across the map by somebody who doesn't give a fuck about objectives, just cares about kills, right? They'll walk past your tower because you can just parry the tower and then walk past it. Or they'll walk straight up to your walker with you underneath it because they feel like challenged by your presence on the map. And so, you know, like I said, I don't want to harp on people who are good at the game. And I've mentioned on the modding Discord, like, recently, I was like, man, I can't wait for a balance patch that like makes all the annoying as fuck people consider the game dead and move on to something else. And immediately somebody was like, you know, and people were telling me that there's no animosity towards competitive players. It's like, motherfucker, I'm 2,000 hours in the game. All I know is that this game is highly competitive, okay? I'm talking about like annoying ass fucking sweaty losers like the motherfuckers who buy the superhero skin in Fortnite and dye it all black so they can hide in shadows. And they say, "Oh, my model is smaller, so it gives me my FPS is higher with it installed." You know, people who squeeze out every last drop of competitive edge that they can get instead of just fucking playing the game normally. You know, like I said, snorting crushed Adderall for that 1% advantage, you know, over people who don't snort fucking crushed Adderall. You know, you'll never be able to compete against somebody who tries their absolute hardest to play at the absolute top of their game, who has more resources and a better sleep schedule than you. You can try and you can certainly get far, you know. But a lot of those kinds of people, they're like they're like blue check marks on X. They like to rage bait, you know. Oh, well, you don't need any of that to do good or get good. You know, a disabled person with no fucking arms and plays with the game with a controller, using their feet, can also climb all the way up. It's all about your mental. And then like they just like don't connect the fucking dots on like difficulty levels. Like at the end of the day, I'm just straw manning, you know, annoying nerds into existence when I, above all, am the most annoying nerd of them all. But, you know, it's a game I'm highly passionate about, the game that I love, that I have loved, that I continue to love, but I wish I could love just a little bit more. You know, after 2,000 hours, obviously, I feel both like I have some merit in my words, but also some responsibility in what I'm putting out there, right? And at the same time, I also feel, obviously, I could take a break. I can like leave the game alone until there's a nice big juicy patch, right? Because imagine if instead of playing for 2,000 hours, you know, I left when all the other people did, and instead of having 2,000 hours, I had less than 100, right? And I just moved on with my life. I was like, yeah, I'll check out Deadlock, you know, whenever it gets a big ass update, right? I'm sure I would be having a completely different perspective on the game. I'm sure I'd be saying completely different things. But instead, I dove into the guts of this game. I saw it exactly for what it was. I took it at face value. I took it with the biggest grains of salt I could possibly take it with. I've seen the good. I've seen the bad. I've seen the goddamn ugly, motherfucking hideous ass face that this game can have sometimes. And you know what? I still come out on top. Is it difficult? Of course, right? Does it feel like sometimes I'm worse at this game than I was when I fucking started? Yeah, of course, right? I'm fucking worse at Overwatch now than I ever have been, even when I started, right? And that's gonna be how it is, right? I'm 27 years old. Uh, I'm not at peak physical condition. Way like really far away from it, in fact. You know, and like I said, I don't get great sleep. You know, I'm not actively tapped in all the time. I'm not watching videos about this game basically ever. You know, so I could be doing more, but I don't want to be like that. I don't want, you know, it's a video game. I should be allowed to hop in casually once in a while, play for at most 3 hours, right? Whether that's 3 1 hour matches, God forbid, or, you know, 3 20-minute matches, and I play for 1 hour, and I get my fill. And I don't feel like I was incessantly bullied by people who will just go out of their way to never miss a shot, but not that they're going to miss a shot. They intentionally put themselves in the best of positions to take every single shot that they have. You know, I just don't want to interface with a video game to that degree unless I'm also getting paid to do so and getting coached on it, right? Because if I want to actually play competitively, I'll do that. I'll play competitively. But right now, while the game is in the state that it's in, I'm cool with taking my hands off. I'm cool with taking a step back. I'm cool with giving it some time. You know? Because there are already plenty of people in this game already who eat, sleep, and breathe this shit every day. And when the next patch comes out, they'll be on top of the meta within a couple days, ruining lobbies for everyone, just like they do already. And all I want is a game that I'm not going to get tired of 3 days after a patch comes out because I'm playing against, you know, the best way to put it is no life nerds who have never gotten pussy. It's a German quote. I think I fucked it up actually. But yeah, this video is probably impossible to parse, and I'm probably unintelligible, completely incomprehensible. But if you liked it, hey, leave a like, maybe subscribe. It's up to you, really. I don't have a schedule. You know, I play 2 games. I don't upload anything consistently. There's a Patreon. No idea if that'll be linked. Leave a comment. Let your thoughts out in the replies. Don't worry. I'll read them. I might even respond to them. Trust me. You don't have to watch the whole 30-minute spiel to leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And Valve notoriously likes to get their information about video games from all sorts of places. And hey, the more engagement, the better the conversation. Hit that notification bell if you, for some ungodly reason, want to see uploads in the future and get them right in your inbox as they go live. That's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.